Maple Hill Cemetery, Huntsville, Alabama. Established in 1818, Maple Hill Cemetery is the oldest and largest burial ground in Huntsville, 100 acres to be exact. It boasts over 80,000 grave sites, including notable figures like governors, senators, and military personnel. Visitor reported eerie experiences within the cemetery. Apparitions and strange noises can be seen and heard after dark. One of the most haunted spots is the Dead Children's Playground located inside the cemetery. Witnesses have seen swings moving on their own, orbs of light, even seeing spirits of children playing late at night. If that ain't scary, then I don't know what is. Sloss Furnace, Birmingham, Alabama. Sloss Furnace began producing pig iron in 1818. At its peak, it was then largest pig iron manufacturer and well known globally. The furnace closed in 1970, but left behind a legacy of paranormal activity. James Warnwood was a former blast foreman who treated workers terribly during the graveyard shift when the furnace was in operation. Legend has it that the mistreated workers band together and threw wormwood in the molten fires of the furnace. Visitors claims to have seen ghostly apparitions, reports of screaming, seeing shadows, and sudden temperature drops. Sloss Furnace is now a museum open to the public. I hope I get to visit one day. Would you? Fort Morgan, Gulf Shores, Alabama. Fort Morgan is a masonry fort built between 1819 and 1833. It played a significant role in the Battle of Mobile Bay, the Spanish-American War, World War I, and World War II. Visitors have reported unusual activity within the fort. Some of these encounters include strange mist, shadow figures, noises, and feelings of dread. The old barracks where a prisoner committed suicide in 1917 is considered one of the most haunted areas. Visitors can hear crying late at night. During the Civil War, a bomb explosion in one of the fort rooms resulted in the deaths of several men. How sad! Drish House, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Drish House was built in 1837 by Dr. John R. Drish. He was one of Tuscaloosa's earliest settlers. He loved gambling and drinking so much that he tragically died falling down the stairs. Allegedly he was drunk. Dr. Drish's widow Sarah was obsessed with planning his funeral. She kept the candles from his funeral and intended to use them at her own. However, when Sarah passed away in 1884, the candles were never found and his last wish was never fulfilled. Many believe that this enraged Sarah, leading to the haunting within the Drish House. The most famous haunting involves the third-story tower fire. It's been reported that flames can be seen on the third-story tower, but there has been no evidence of a fire existing. Some speculate that it's Sarah lighting the missing candles. Today the house serves as a venue for weddings and parties. Arcola Ghost Town, Arcola, Alabama. Arcola, Alabama is a ghost town located on the Black Warrior River in what's now Hale County, formerly Marengo County. It was established in the early 1820s by a former French Bonapartists as a partner of their vine and olive colony. Even though I did not find any actual hauntings at this location, it was left abandoned and is now a part of Alabama's past. Jemison Center, Northport, Alabama. The Jemison Center, also known as the Old Bryce Hospital, was a former psychiatric hospital that opened in the 20th century, and it housed patients until 1977. During its operation, patients endured terrible conditions. African American patients were forced to work at the nearby plantations for free, and feces were smeared across the walls at the hospital. The Jemison Center has been compared to a concentration camp due to its haunting conditions. Today, the abandoned building stands covered in graffiti and vegetation growth. I don't care what race or color a person is or where they come from. No one deserves to live like that or be treated that way. Ever. Nancy Mountain Trail, Franklin, Alabama. Nancy Mountain Trail is located in Haynes Island. It is said to be haunted by the spirits of the Civil War-era women. According to Legned, Nancy and her husband lived on the mountain during the Civil War, and their son enlisted in the army. When word reached Nancy that her son had been killed but no body was never found, she began to walk the mountain trails at night, carrying a lantern and a pail of water for her son. Nancy eventually passed away, and her house crumbled to the ground. But some say her spirit can still be seen walking the trails at night with lantern and the pail of water in hand, still waiting for her son. A mother's love never dies.